Good morning, people on YouTube. I'm going to be doing some early morning fishing here. It's October 22nd, and I'm going to be going down to the Green/Duwamish River in Seattle, and I'll go for some late season coho, and if that doesn't pan out, I'm going to look for some early season chum. I'm going to be using a float setup for the chum with a jig, and for the coho, I'm going to be trying bottom bouncing some salmon roe that I bought from the store since I didn't catch too many female salmon this year, so pretty much out of roe. So hopefully that goes good. I'll see you at the spot. One can hope for good weather in Seattle, but in the fall, this is pretty typical. Just pretty much straight rain for the next 6 months, but I'm going to be hopeful that it doesn't pour, and this conditions right now look pretty okay. Just wet on the ground, but no downpour yet. Anyways. Alright, making our way towards the spot. I was gonna do a selfie cam, but it's just too dark in my car for the my phone to pick anything up. So I wanted to get your guys' thoughts on something. So I've been watching a lot of YouTube videos of people fishing in the areas around me, where I am in Western Washington, and I wanted to get your guys' thoughts on YouTube videos blowing up really already kind of well-known popular spots. I see a lot of videos go out of their way to protect like spots where it's plainly obvious where it is. I saw a video where some guy was crabbing off the Mukilteo Pier or squidding at Edmonds, and they're like, there will be comments in the YouTube videos like, where is this, and the guy's like, I don't reveal, you know, the fisheries I go to so I don't blow them up. But I mean, when you have a ferry in the background, or like, you know, you pass by the sign that says "Welcome to Mukilteo Pier" or things like that, well, does that really matter? Like, why even go out of your way to do that? Just by having the video, you're exposing where it is, essentially. I just think it's kind of silly. And then on the opposite end, I'll see people go to very popular spots and reveal where it is. Like, I'll see people go, I'm going to the Green River and I'm fishing off the Spokane Street Bridge, or they'll go to Lincoln Park and they'll, you know, fish off the beach. And then the comments, you'll never really have someone that's like, how dare you reveal the river name or the spot, this thing's gonna be blown up. This is ridiculous. I mean, even in the video you see, there's already people standing shoulder to shoulder fishing. It's just crazy. Like, that doesn't make sense to me either. So, I think, personally for me, like, if you're going to a well-known spot, I think it's okay to tell people where it is, you know, give it some context, instead of just saying, I'm on a river, or I'm on a lake fishing somewhere. It just doesn't make sense. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you at the spot. Alright, we just parked, and it's about just past sunrise. Looking at the parking area, looks like I'm the only one here for fishing anyways, which makes sense. The recent reports have been showing pretty slow coho. It might be coming to an end. There might be a bee run, don't know. But it's also raining, so that could be another factor. But hopefully we can get something. It'll be nice to have the spot to myself though, so let's go. So we're right at high tide right now. I've never actually seen this spot this high, so there's almost no, there's usually a little sandbank right here, but there's none right now, and there's basically no current. So I'm gonna wait a little bit. In about an hour it'll switch to low, going from high tide slack to low tide, so there'll start to be some flow. But right now I'm gonna switch to twitching some jigs, as the water's just too still for bobber or drift fishing right now. Using a hot pink with a yellow chartreuse head. Mostly, I might get some chum on this. I might get some coho on this. Coho usually like more like a purple, but we'll see. I have not seen any fish jump yet or roll, so that might be a bad sign.
Given that there's been a lot of recent rain, they might have pushed further up in the river system. Right now, I'm pretty low in the system. As you can see, it's tidal water. Rain's picking up a bit. That's okay. Where that tree kind of juts out, they kind of hold up there sometimes, but it's obviously pretty difficult to cast there without hitting it. Still no signs of life. Haven't seen any jumpers. Generally that means there's nothing there. If you don't see them, they're not there for the most part. But you can move spots. That's one strategy when you don't see any fish. If you're gonna do that, you kind of want to do it early, so you just don't waste more time. Or you can just wait it out. I'm gonna wait it out here since it's raining everywhere. I don't really want to pack up my waders again. Wait it out. Maybe a school will come through, and then you can catch something. If you ever been to a location where you can see them in the water, what you'll generally see is when there's not a school of them coming in, you'll see maybe 3 or 4 or 5 just come. Sometimes they'll hold, sometimes they'll just transit through, and then you have to be right on them to get them to strike. You basically have to put the presentation in their face. Oh, I think that was grass, but that's generally how it is. In a school, you can basically cast anywhere on a smaller river like this, and then your presentation will be in front of some fish, and then it's just a matter of time before you get a bite. But for when you only have a few going through, it's kind of luck and kind of knowing the spot and where they hold, so you can just keep targeting that area, and hopefully your cast and the timing of the fish being in that spot will coincide sooner or later. But even then, like when you can sight fish them, you can literally put the presentation in front of their face, whether it be eggs or a jig or whatever, and sometimes they just don't bite. They'll look at it and then they'll just go away. We did that experiment like a few weeks ago with my friend. He put eggs and jigs and whatever right in front of the face of a bunch of coho that we could see from an overpass. And they just completely ignore it. That's what they call, I think they call that lockjaw. So, sometimes it's just luck. That's why people say you gotta put in the time. Because, if it's luck, that means it's probability. And the more time you put in, the more chances you have at being on the right side of that probability for catching something, or at least hooking up. For getting them in, it's probably more skill, but for the initial hookup, I would say it's mostly tribal knowledge and luck. Apparently there's been a sea lion in the lower green upper Duwamish that has been chasing the fish everywhere, maybe a mile or 2 from downriver from here. I haven't seen it, but I've been seeing a lot of reports. Apparently its name is Henry, or the Beast. So apparently it's a very big sea lion. For these tight spots, I kind of prefer bait caster reel, because you can just cast hard like you're going to try to get over to the other side, and then you can easily use your thumb just to stop it short, and then you can basically target any distance between you and the other side of the bank. Whereas this is kind of hard to stop it like really precisely. But the ergonomics of a spinning reel for twitching is better. And generally, the bait casting rods, they don't have a salmon steelhead rod and a shorter length. You're usually at least 9 feet or 8'6". You can kind of see it now. The current is now starting to move out with the tide. So I might switch to my bobber soon. If you're making fishing videos, a lot of what you do is, especially your POV cam, you're just going to be recording the entire thing because you don't know when something's going to happen. But then when you go to edit, you're going to have like this super long video where there's mostly nothing happening. And then you have to scrub through it to find those points where something did happen. So pro tip is, if it's a mostly quiet environment, when those things happen, you want to make a kind of commotion, or at least start talking to the camera, because then you'll see on the audio waveform the increase in volume, and that'll help you more easily find it. Those action spots save you some time. Of course, if there's a siren, that will not work in your favor. So on my float jigs and hooks, I usually put a swivel at the top so I can just switch out what's attached to my inline weight real quick. Just grab inline weight, open the snap swivel, and easy peasy, I'm ready to fish bait. I'm surprised nobody's here at all. I would expect at least 1 or 2 people to show up. So maybe all the slow fishing reports for Coho are scaring them off. Or they're just waiting for chum season to pick up. Chum are in the river system. Some people have caught them, but they don't really come strong until November 1st. Also on November 1st, the upper parts of Green River open up, and those are more popular spots for chum for whatever reason. I think it's from Highway 18 to and above to like Flaming Geyser open, and all along there are pretty popular chum spots. All right, I think I'm gonna call it quits. It's been about 3 hours with no bites. I'm gonna just walk down this path to see what the other spots look like, and then head home. Yep. Spot here too. Fish jumping. Check that out. 7-Eleven. Struggle Life Pizza. Yeah, I think you could be able to see the fish from this spot. There's less glare because of the bridge. I don't really see anything though. Interesting. Yeah, nobody here today. Except maybe I saw one guy. That looks like he left. So will I. All right. Seems like the Coho run on the Duwamish and Green River is pretty much over this year. I think that's because most of the runs came early this year. Pinks came early. I got my first pink, all the salt water in July, and usually they don't show up until mid-August. So that's interesting. Yeah, all the fish runs seem early. Chinook too, early summer, late summer, people are hooking up on them. So it would make sense that the Coho run is ending early. There's already reports of Chum, so they're in early too. So it all kind of makes sense for the run to be ending now instead of later in November. So catch me next time. If you like this video, please subscribe, and I'll see you further up on the Green River looking for Chum on the next episode. All right, I'm out.